true. Nervous. Very, very dreadfully nervous I had been, and am. But why will you say that I am mad? The disease had sharpened my senses, not destroyed them. Above all was the sense of hearing acute. I heard all things in the heaven and in the earth. I heard many things in hell. Hearken and observe how healthily, how calmly I can tell you the whole story. I loved the old man. He had never wronged me. For his gold I had no desire. I think it was his eye. Whenever it fell upon me, my blood ran cold, and so by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take the life of the old man, and thus rid myself of the eye forever. Now this is the point. You fancy me mad. Madmen know nothing. But you should have seen me. How wisely I proceeded. With what caution. With what foresight. With what dissimulation. I went to work. I moved slowly. Very, very slowly. So that I might not disturb the old man's sleep. Would a madman have been so wise as this? At first I found it impossible to do the work. It was not the old man who vexed me, but his evil eye. It is impossible to say how first the idea entered my brain. But once conceived, it haunted me day and night. I entered his room every night, just at midnight. Every night, I found the eye closed. He would have been a very profound old man indeed, to suspect that every night I looked in upon him while he slept. One night, I was more than usually cautious. Never before had I felt the extent of my own powers, of my sagacity. To think that there I was, opening the door, and the old man not even to dream of my secret deeds or thoughts. Perhaps he heard me. I kept quite still and said nothing. He was listening. I knew what he felt and pitied him. Death, in approaching him, had stalked with his black shadow before him and enveloped the victim. What you mistake for madness is but over acuteness of the senses. There came to my ears a sound. It was the beating of the old man's heart. It increased my fury as the beating of a drum stimulates the soldier into courage. It grew quicker and louder every instant. The old man's terror must have been extreme. His hour had come. I have told you that I am nervous. So I am. Although the deed was so far done, the heart beat on with a muffled sound. At length it ceased. There was no pulsation. He was stone dead. His eye would trouble me no more. If still you think me mad, you will think so no longer when I describe the wise precautions I took for the concealment of the body. I took up 3 planks from the flooring and deposited all between the scantlings. There was no stain of any kind, no blood spot whatever. No human eye, not even his, could have detected anything wrong. When I made an end of these labors, there came a knocking at the street door. I went down to open it with a light heart, for what had I now to fear? There entered 3 men, who introduced themselves with perfect suavity as officers of the police. A shriek had been heard by a neighbor during the night. Suspicion of foul play had been aroused. Information had been lodged at the police office, and they, the officers, had been deputed to search the premises. The shriek, I said, was my own in a dream. The old man I mentioned was absent in the country. I took my visitors all over the house. I led them at length to his chamber. I showed them his treasures, secure, undisturbed. In the enthusiasm of my confidence, I desired them here to rest from their fatigues, while I, myself, placed my own seat upon the very spot beneath which reposed the corpse of the victim. The officers were satisfied. My manner had convinced them. I was singularly at ease. But, ere long, I felt myself getting pale and wished them gone. My head ached, and I fancied a ringing in my ears. It continued and gained definiteness until at length I found that the noise was not within my ears. It grew louder, louder, louder. Why would they not be gone? Was it possible they heard not? No, no, they heard, they suspected, they knew. They were making a mockery of my horror. I could bear those hypocritical smiles no longer. Anything was better than this agony. Villains! Dissemble no more. I admit the deed. Tear up the planks. It is the beating of his hideous heart!